And we continue at 2:06 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings in Culver City.
John, I do a lot of digging on YouTube for all of the information that we get on this show. So not only do I search for news stories from our local news stations in places like Los Angeles, Orange County, San Diego, San Francisco, Oakland, Sacramento, I also look up our politicians every single day. I'm subscribed to their channels, and if they appear on anything else, I do a search and I try to see what's out there. Every day I search for the name Ulysses Hernandez.
Yes!
And I usually sort by date, but I kept seeing this video pop up that is not new. That's Ulysses Hernandez well before she ever ran for office when she was working for the Drug Policy Alliance. And it's a video of her on a YouTube show called Grassroots, which I guess you can understand what that's about. And it's Ulysses and this lady making pot brownies.
Hey y'all, I'm here today with my good friend Ulysses Hernandez from Drug Policy Alliance, and we are going to be baking some feel-good brownies. So what are we going to do first? We're going to pour this water.
Three quarters of a cup of water.
Okay.
And then the cannabis oil?
Yes.
Wow, she's a regular Paula Deen.
Now, let's find out what happened to Ulysses after she consumed the pot brownies.
Let's talk about those brownies for a little bit.
Yes.
How did you feel? I was so...
I fell asleep. I ordered some Thai food and then I went to sleep.
You
That
did?
was the highlight of my evening.
Now, this is from 7 years ago, but I feel like the audience needed to know that it existed.
The classics never get old.
Quite frankly,
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, we now know that the minimum wage is going up at LAX and the hotels near LAX, but it's not going up by a little bit. It's going up by a lot.
The LA City Council passed an ordinance that would raise the minimum wage for what they call tourism workers, which is people that work at hotels in the city of Los Angeles and people that work at LAX, but not the people that work at like Madame Tussauds or the Wax Museum, to $30 an hour by 2028. So it goes up $250 in July, then another $250 the year after that, then another $250 the year after that, and then in 2028, their minimum wage for that specific sector is $30 an hour. If you work at a restaurant inside a hotel, you make $30 an hour. If you work at a restaurant that is next to a hotel, you make minimum wage. If you work at a fast food restaurant, you make $20 an hour. We are picking and choosing in the strangest ways now.
Now, what is the reasoning behind giving hotel workers near LAX a raise, but not everyone else? Do people destroy hotel rooms near the airport at higher rates than they do in the Valley?
Well, no, the Valley's getting them too. This is anything that's considered a hotel in the city of Los Angeles is considered a tourism worker by the SEIU and their bought and paid for city council person, Hugo Soto Martinez.
Wait, so if someone's staying at a hotel in Woodland Hills, that counts?
Yes.
I see. Well, I'm sure this is a can't miss.
Yeah, clap that up.
For more on the vote at the LA City Council to raise the minimum wage for tourism workers in the city of Los Angeles, this doesn't count for the county, just the city, here's KTLA.
Now at 4:30, a years-long push to help local workers. Today, LA City Council passed a proposal to increase the minimum wage for hotel and airport workers.
Is this just a thing we do now? We pick a very specific subsection of an industry and say, you're all making this.
Well, the ones with powerful unions, yes.
For hotel and airport workers.
You know what's another thing Hugo's trying to do? And I found out about this when a guy who doesn't like him filmed one of his town halls. Hugo is trying to change the ethics laws in the city of Los Angeles so he can legally accept gifts from public employee unions.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm sure they'll shower him with gifts. At the end of the year, he'll have everything Ron Popeil has ever made.
For hotel and airport workers. The main goal of the proposal is for the minimum wage to reach $30 an hour.
How about the guy that drives the TMZ bus? Isn't he a tourism worker?
Oh, yes, but he doesn't belong to a powerful union.
The main goal of the proposal.
The people at Universal Studios? Oh, wait, that's not even the city of Los Angeles, I guess.
The main goal of the proposal is for the minimum wage to reach 30.
None of the big theme parks that people come to L.A. for are in L.A.
No. Disneyland's in Anaheim.
Knott's is in Buena Park, Magic Mountain's in Santa Clarita, and Universal is in its own little city called Universal City.
Raging Waters is in San Dimas.
The main goal of the proposal is for the minimum wage to reach $30 an hour by 2028, just in time for the Olympic and Paralympic Games.
KTLA 5's Gene Kang is live downtown with more on today.
We do the strangest things all in the name of the Olympics coming here.
Well, it's like COVID. It's like COVID. It's like the fires. Why are you doing something that makes no sense? Well, the Olympics, of course.
But if you increase the labor costs by 60%, some of these hotels aren't going to be in business by the time the Olympics come here.
No, because let's face it, when you're looking for hotels, I don't know about you, but I'm brand loyal to Hilton. So I just open up my Hilton app, and it shows me what the prices are in the area that I'm searching in, and it'll show me all of their brands, the Hampton Inn, the regular Hilton, the H2 Suites, the Embassy Suites, the DoubleTree, whatever. And you look at what's available, and you look at the price point, and it's an easy decision. And in that area, in and around the airport, it's not just those hotels right there on Century Boulevard. You have El Segundo that's right there. You have other independent cities. Inglewood is not far from LAX. So you have choices. And if you raise the minimum wage to $30 an hour, and it's not that in Inglewood, and it's not that in El Segundo, and it's not that in other South Bay cities, guess what? It's much easier for you to go to El Segundo than on Century. And they charge a fortune for parking there, too.
Not only that, if you're going to L.A. for tourism, you might be spending all of your tourism dollars not in the city of Los Angeles, but in Inglewood if you want to go see the Rams or the Clippers or the Chargers.
Well, here's the thing. No tourist is going to stay on Century Boulevard near the airport. There's nothing for you there. There are no restaurants. There's no entertainment. There's nothing there. If you're staying near LAX, my guess is you work for an airline, you're a flight attendant or a pilot, or you live somewhere in the region and you have an early morning flight or a late night international flight, whatever, and you get a hotel room near the airport because you don't know what the traffic situation is going to be like when you're supposed to be there for your flight. But if you're right next to the airport, you can just take a quick Uber and you can be there on time. I bet you that represents a huge percentage of their business. So they may think they're sticking this bill to tourists who live out of the country or out of the state, but I bet you a lot of the people who are going to end up paying this bill are people who live here who have to get a room there so they can make their flight because the traffic grid is so crunched.
KTLA 5's Gene Kang is live downtown with more on today's vote. Hey, Gene.
I wonder how many hotels are going to go under that Karen Bass is going to buy for a song and turn it into more inside safe homeless housing that doesn't work.
Oh, I'm sure the homeless would provide a grand welcome for all the people coming here for the Olympics.
Hi, John and Lauren, to both of you. Well, there was a lot of celebration outside of City Hall where Real Live. As you see, those folks are now going home. However, this was some big news for them. As you mentioned, that is the largest hike for minimum wage for tourism industry workers, up to $30 an hour by the year 2028.
With the current wages now, they don't want to clean your room more than once a week. What's it going to be like now?
No, and remember, they said that was because of COVID when they stopped cleaning your room every single day. And now it turns out that that was a lie. That was just a budget cut.
12 ayes, 3 noes.
If you're curious, the 3 people that voted against this were Tracy Park, John Lee, and Monica Rodriguez. The rest of them said, to hell with it. Let's see what happens.
I think Monica Rodriguez, who seems to have her head screwed on straight, is beginning to realize that she's working in an insane asylum.
Oh, yeah.
12 ayes, 3 noes.
All right. This will come back.
Listen to all those SEIU members that had nothing to do on a Tuesday.
Well, I'm sure they were paid to be there.
A lot of cheering outside the steps of Los Angeles City Hall earlier. There was a lot of anticipation in a packed city council chambers after going back and forth for several hours and returning from a closed-door session. The city council voted to pass the minimum wage proposal. Council members Curran Price and Hugo Soto Martinez.
So the first person who brought this bill forth is a person that is currently under investigation and indicted for corruption.
Well, he needs to keep his friends close.
And the second guy is literally bought and paid for by the SEIU.
Yeah, clap that up.
Quite a combination.
Council members Curran Price and Hugo Soto Martinez say it's about fair pay for essential workers. Opponents, including hotel industry leaders, tried to shut it down, arguing it could be bad for businesses and that our region is seeing an international travel drop.
You're going to have to, if your labor costs overnight go up 60%, you're going to have to raise your rates, and you're going to see a very noticeable difference between the hotel prices in the city of Los Angeles and the hotel prices everywhere in the surrounding area.
And here's what's funny. If you stay in El Segundo, you can actually go for a walk in the morning and go get a cup of coffee. You don't have to worry about getting hit on the head. If you stay on Century Boulevard, good luck.
Now, here's a breakdown of the wage hike. Let's take a look. It would require hotels with more than 60 rooms, as well as companies doing businesses.
How many hotels are going to start demolishing rooms so they only have 60?
There's going to be a lot of suspicious fires.
Or now the single room is now a massive suite because they blew out a wall.
Just bring in one of those school kids with a laptop.
Doing business at LAX to pay workers the new wage, starting at $22.50 an hour by this July, then increase by $2.50 an hour every year. That means workers will be paid $25 an hour in 2026, $27.50 an hour in 2027, and $30 an hour in 2028.
So in 2028, you could be a barista at the Starbucks at Terminal 1 at LAX and make $30 an hour. The same kind of barista who just works at a Starbucks that's on Century Boulevard makes minimum wage.
It makes 0 sense.
Ahead of the Olympics, we talked to union workers and leaders about what this means to working families.
Oh, boy.
I got a family. I got a wife at home. I work 2 jobs, so this maybe I can work a little bit less,
Unless you get laid off. Then you work a whole lot less.
And guess what? That day is coming.
Well, and what's interesting here is you look at the time that we're in with the rapid, insane advancement of AI that's getting more powerful every single day. You're going to see a lot of changes when it comes to, well, we don't need to have someone at check-in anymore because you can do all that through an app. You already can do that through checkout. We can hire the Flippy robot. We can fly Flippy, the robot that makes the burgers. We can get the robot bartender, the ones they have in San Francisco. You're going to see a lot more automation for a lot of these jobs.
Yeah, and you know what they should do over at the Union Hall? They should subscribe to the Cartoon Network, and they should show all these people the Jetsons. Because guess what? They're all going to be replaced by Rosie's sisters.
I'm able to take care of my son better. I'm able to do nice things for him. I was penny pinching a lot, and discount shopping, and now I'm able to do more for him. I'm able to pay my bills on time.
What do you do if you're a tradesman? You're an air conditioner repairman, you're a plumber, aspiring plumber, and you're making $30 an hour now?
Well, think about this. If you're a flight attendant for a regional airline and you have an overnight at LAX, the person cleaning your room is going to be making more money than you. And you are responsible for the safety of your passengers on a jet.
So this is a big difference.
So who comes to City Hall next and says, okay, where's our raise? You had the fast food workers making 20. Well, now LAX workers are making 30. The fast food workers are going to say, hey, that's not fair.
Well, and no one increased their skills. No one is more valuable to their company. In fact, they're less valuable because there's now technology that will allow the companies to eventually replace them. And my guess is they just sped that up.
For all intents and purposes, that vote by the City Council has passed. But in 10 days, they're going to finalize that with what's called procedural vote. Reporting live here by City Hall in downtown Los Angeles, Gene Kang, back to you in the studio.
There you go. LA City Council approves a $30 an hour minimum wage hike for quote-unquote tourism workers by 2028.
And you go to some areas, and I can't remember if the area in and around LAX does this, but you go to some places. I know San Francisco does this. They have a surcharge for health care on the bill. Have you ever seen that before on a bill?
Oh, yeah.
They have a surcharge for health care. Some of these hotels, and it varies by location, but some of these hotels, they have a resort fee attached to it, which is in addition to the cost of the room. So you stay at a hotel, and you have the price of the room, you have the resort fee, you have the health care fee, and now you have $30 an hour minimum wage workers cleaning the rooms, serving the drinks, serving the food. You look at the cost at the coffee shops and the bars at these hotels. I had an early morning flight, so I had a room at one of these hotels on Century near LAX. And I drink the same drink pretty much wherever I go. I have a Dewar's on the rocks, and that's it. I don't have a mixer. I don't do any of the fruity drinks, no pina coladas, no lava flows, no blueberry mojitos, just a Dewar's on the rocks. You take a glass, you put some ice in there, and you pour some Dewar's. And at the hotel at LAX, they measure all of the booze. There's no free pour. So if you order a Dewar's, you get one shot, and that's it. Well, that's not enough to wet your whistle. So you have to get a double. And they charge $22 a shot. So that's a $44 drink where you can get the entire bottle of Dewar's at the grocery store for $20. So these airport hotels are charging you $44 for 2 shots of Dewar's if you're going to have a drink at the hotel bar. And what else is there to do on Century Boulevard, in addition to all of these other fees and taxes that you're paying? Here's our question to you at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. If you're at one of these hotels and you know the person pouring that drink is making $30 an hour, and a drink that should be $10 where the entire bottle is $20 is costing you $44, do you tip on that drink? Because here's what I think is going to happen. I think whether they know it or not, people are going to stop tipping, because the cost of all of these items at these hotels is increasing dramatically for no good reason. It's not because of inflation. It's because of the cost of operating the hotel due to regulations like this. I think people are going to stop tipping, or they're going to be less generous with their tips. So that's my question to you at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. The minimum wage is $30 an hour. You order a very simple drink to make. It should cost $10. It costs you $44. Do you tip on top of that? 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, with the weekend quickly approaching, if you want to listen to us all weekend long, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes. Find out what the hell was going on with this.
There was a woman laying in the middle of the tracks, and the train couldn't stop in time, so it hit her, and it severed her leg. And then a homeless person actually took the leg into an encampment.
The minimum wage is going up to $30 an hour at LAX and at the hotels near it. Are you going to dial back on your tipping? Because the cost of the room, the cost of the drinks, the cost of the food is all going to shoot through the roof. Are you going to dial back how much you tip? 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. The minimum wage at LAX and at hotels near the airport is going up to $30 an hour. I told a story when I was staying in one of those hotels because I had an early morning flight the next day. I ordered a Dewar's on the rocks, which typically costs $10 if you go to a neighborhood restaurant. If you go to a pricier place, it could be, I don't know, $12, $14, sometimes $16 if they really are getting aggressive with the pricing. If you order it at a hotel bar near LAX, it's $22 for one shot and $44 for two. That's a $44 drink when the bottle itself can be purchased at a grocery store for $20. Now, I did tip on the drink. However, I did make a snide remark to the bartender because he didn't give me one additional drop besides the two that he measured. You know what I did, Randy?
What's that?
The person next to me said, "What are you drinking?" And I looked at my drink, and I looked at the bartender, and I said, "Mostly ice, thanks to my sponsor." But I think people are going to dial back on the tipping. What say you? Will you dial back your tipping if you know the person pouring your drink is making $30 an hour and you're paying through the nose to stay at a mediocre hotel? 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Let's begin with Loretta in the South Bay. Loretta, hello.
Loretta. Hi. Yeah, I would not give a tip. Actually, I wouldn't even go there to the hotels nearby. I would go to an RNC or something, or people that open up their homes or even empty apartments, you know what I mean, that people accept, renting for the time being. But that's what I would do. And I think that they're doing this because of Trump.
I stopped staying with friends and family a long time ago. And whenever they offer, and frequently they're kind enough to offer a room to allow me to stay there if they know I'm flying out of an airport that they live next to for an early morning flight. And it's not that I don't like my friends and family. It's that I just feel more comfortable in the care of strangers. Thank you for the call. Let's go to James in Oakland. James, hello.
Yeah, I'm considered a celebrity and all that because I do all these talk shows and all that. Well, that's a ripoff. That's a damn ripoff. And I tell whether the Democrats or the Republicans or the Independents, I go on shows. I respect you for maintaining a degree of competency. The hell, I'm going to pay $22 for a shot with that damn bartender who's making a little side money. He's not taking one of the thing.
I think his phone died.
Did we lose him?
That's
too bad because he was just getting wound up.
Thank you for the call. Maybe time to move on from T-Mobile.
Let's go to JB in Santa Monica. JB, hello.
Hey, they're not tipping. I'm a limo driver. I make $16 an hour. And ever since the pandemic, we're not getting the tips that we used to get. So I think $30 is exorbitant. I mean, I'd love to make $30 an hour. So, but by the way, Doer sounds like a good breakfast, and I think what you need to do is, or maybe you can find it. I don't know if they still have it, but maybe find a girly bar someplace where at least you can get some nudity with your drink.
I don't know if they're open for breakfast.
For the call.
And to be honest, you don't want to go to a nudie bar that's open at breakfast.
Who gets the morning shifts at the nudie bar?
Usually the ones with C-section scars.
Let's go to Dan in the Bay Area. Dan, hello.
Yes. Well, maybe I'm oddball out here. I've worked in the concession business for about 15 years, and I give tips personally, and I got tips when I was working in concessions. But when I give tips, it's based on service. So if somebody's getting a $30 increase and price up the yada yada, I actually don't take that in consideration. I just based on service. And so if that particular bartender gave you the eye or gave you maybe a negative look, well, if it was me, a buck and walk away.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir.
I think Johnny just wanted more than an ounce.
I wanted a lot more than that. You get a free pour. Sometimes those glasses are so big you could do the backstroke in it.
That's the best part about sitting at a bar and making friends with the bartender is they really stop looking at how much they're pouring you.
Oh, yeah. If you're a good tipper, they'll take care of you.
You start with a 20, you'll make it back. You stay there long enough.
You want to know a life hack? If you tip on the airplane, you tip the flight attendant when they bring you your mini, when they bring you your drink, you will drink free the entire flight. And they will keep them coming. Let's go to Albert in Pasadena. Albert, hello.
Oh, John, let me tell you a story. Something happened to me recently. I stayed at the Universal Sheraton and for a work convention, and basically like you did, just to hang out and have a little drink. And when I realized, I was getting ready to tip when I realized there was a service/gratuity added to my bill. And I asked why? You know, this is not a party of 25. This is just me. And the answer was because it's automatically added. So places are starting to add those gratuities to bills in order to get them pay more money, get people to pay more money for. Basically, you're paying their paycheck. You with the service fee. I'm assuming they're using that to pay for the bartenders.
Well, and if it's the establishment that's adding a gratuity to your bill, how much do you want to bet they're skimming some of that too?
That's what I'm saying. And my idea, my belief is that they're using that money to pay for the employee.
All right. Interesting theory. Thank you so much for the call, sir. Let's go to Robert in Northern California. Robert, hello.
Good afternoon, John. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me the name of or the location of a hotel in the city of El Segundo?
I can. There is a Hampton Inn and Suites right there on Sepulveda on the other side of the freeway of the 105.
Okay, that may be correct. I grew up in Inglewood, California, Century and Aviation Boulevard. I also worked in El Segundo for over 20 years and retired from there. And I never, ever saw a hotel in the city of El Segundo. Now, I retired in 2001, so they may have put one on Sepulveda. I just wanted to clarify that I know of no hotels in the city of El Segundo. It's mostly industrial. It's an industrial complex.
All right. I think there's an Embassy Suites there, too, if I'm not mistaken.
And a Hilton Garden Inn.
Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Howie in Encino. Howie, hello.
Hey, John. How are you?
Good.
So, really been enjoying your show, and you're calling out all this insanity in the city. And I spent 20 years in the restaurant business, and I always am a 20% tipper. But at that point, no, I think I'd have to refrain from tipping. That's just insane.
When the people who are pouring the drink are making $30 an hour, and you're being punished for it because the hotel has to pay them their salary, and you're paying $44 for a Doors on the Rocks, at a certain point, you're either going to spend all your money at the hotel or you're going to find places to cut.
Exactly. Or you could just arrive at the hotel with your own bottle and stay in your room. You know, listen to some country music and have a few doubles.
See, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. I've done that a few times. Thank you for the call, Sarah. Let's go to Sharon in Salinas. Sharon, hello.
Hi there. So, yes, I was a waitress and a bartender 25 years. I do a base of $1 a drink. whether it's a $5 drink or a $44 doers. Bartenders just trying to do their job and make a living. Why take it out on them?
Yeah, I think that's fair. You tip a little bit more if your drink is more complicated. Sometimes if you're on a cruise ship or whatever and you have the lava flow or the mojito, those take some time.
Yeah.
But a Doors on the
They
Rocks
do a
is about
wonderful
as simple
job,
as it gets.
Yes, I agree. So there you have it. You have a great day.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. The minimum wage has been increased to $30 an hour for employees at LAX and the hotels surrounding it. Because of that, obviously, the hotels are going to be increasing their prices. Are you going to cut back on your tipping because the hotel is going to gouge you for more money? 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Let's go to Jules in Sherman Oaks. Jules, hello.
Hey, John. How are you?
Good.
Hey, John. How are you? So I'm a big tipper. I really do like to, tip for service. But I feel like we do come from a tipping culture because the employers don't usually, they pay minimum wage. So it's kind of up to us to help compensate for that. Whereas like Europe, you go there, you don't have to tip because they're paying their employees a pretty livable wage. So if they're going to go up to $30 an hour, I feel like I'm going to dial back my tips. Like, I don't feel like I need to compensate for that anymore. It's not my problem,
I think that's going to be the common reaction. And it'll be interesting to see if that's what the bartenders and the maids and the servers at those hotels have to say once this is implemented. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Larry in Hayward. Larry, hello.
Hi, how you doing? I originally learned tipping stood for to ensure promptness. So the person is getting paid to do their job, and if they do something extra, you like to give them something that reflects it, the personality or just how they handle it. Since government and private enterprise decides, hey, we're going to set a wage higher, some jobs they did pay low wages and because they got tipped so well. As a matter of fact, you even had a time where people paid to get the job because the tipping was so good. But if they just let private enterprise do its thing, it would reflect appropriately. But if they're paying them $30 an hour, and what really annoys me is when they add it to the bill and they don't really identify it. They're playing games with it. That's horrible. And you feel bad not tipping, but I've done it. I just, I'm not going to do it. And it's hard to do, but I'm not going to do it.
All right. Thank you for the call, Sarah. Let's go to Eduardo in Oakland. Eduardo, hello.
Hey, thank you for getting my call. The previous caller, she said something that I mentioned to your screener. And 25 years ago, 2000, I was in Europe. So I was visiting several cities, and I happened to be in Barcelona, Spain, but same in Madrid. And when it came to tip, because again, like this lady that called it, I'm a good tipper as well. They say, no, you don't have to tip us. So when I returned back to my country of origin, at that time I was living in my country of origin, I was dating an Italian woman at the time. And she told me, you know why? Because the same thing is in Italy, because they get well paid. So I think what's going to happen is what she just said. I think it's going to come the time we don't have to tip, period, because they're getting good salaries. That's it.
And you know what? I think if that's the case, they're going to make less money because you get good tippers in there and you provide good service, you can really make a ton of money. But if you're relying on an hourly rate and then there's no motivation to provide good service, the quality of service will diminish. And certainly the amount of money that you take home, I think, will diminish as well. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Rick in Torrance. Rick, hello.
Hey, guys, this is about taxes. The minimum wage, people that work minimum wage relied on tips, and because they're making minimum wage, not only they paid less taxes, the employer paid less taxes. $30 means they're going to be in a high tax bracket. The employer is going to have to pay because of all kinds of, the things the employers pay when they pay those. So it's a lot of tax revenue, but I'm a 30% tipper. I was in the industry. and I worked really hard, and I had incentive to work hard to get the tip. It's going to destroy the incentive for good service, and it's going to turn 30+% tippers like me into zero. I don't think I'm ever going to tip again at any hotel if I know these people are making 30%. So I'm going to go to a zero tipper.
I'm a big tipper too, and let me tell you, when I ordered that Doors on the Rocks and it was $44, and I know it in part is $44 because of the minimum wage increase at those hotels, it's not that I didn't tip, but I'm a generous tipper too, and I think I tipped $1 or $2 on the drink, and that was it. And I was mad at myself for even doing that.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to go to a – but I tell you, what we're overlooking is that now these workers are paying taxes because they're making more money. And remember, for every dollar that you pay an employee, you pay about $1.50 in tax as an employer, for workers' comp and all that kind of stuff. So it just creates tax revenue, for the governmental entities. But yeah, I tell you, the incentive is going to be zero to work hard, and people like me are just not going to tip. So it's a sad thing. Governments should stay out of business. They don't do a good job on anything they're supposed to do, and now they're trying to control and run businesses. They're going to destroy every business.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Do we have time for one more, Randy, or is that it?
If you go quick.
All right. Let's go to Matthew in the Bay Area. Matthew, hello.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. You got to be fast.
Okay. $30 an hour, they're going to cut full-time way down. So nobody's going to make a lot of money at $30 an hour. And the bartenders are basically therapists. I don't tip my therapist.
Love it. Thanks for the call, Matthew.
All right. That's going to do it for us this week. We'll be back on Monday at noon for another edition of The John Phillips Show.